guys, my name's Emily. I am going to start making tiny house videos. What gave me the idea was recently I met up with some people in Utah who were starting the tiny house process, or one of them was converting a bus, and I was going to make a video kind of so that people could see our conversations and our ideas, but only a few people came and my camera wasn't working, so I decided to make a video about it, and I want to break it up into the different parts of the tiny house process, starting with building. So today I want to talk about building. When you are building your tiny house, and I'm going to mostly talk about tiny houses just because that's what we did. We didn't convert anything. I think that's awesome. I'm just not really the best person to talk about that because I don't know that much about it. So, tiny houses, with building, there are a few options. You can build your tiny house yourself, which is a great option. It's a lot cheaper to build it yourself. The other cool thing about it is it's more personalized. You can feel good about the work that you did and put into it. I love our tiny house, but we had it built, and I sometimes wish that we would have built it ourselves, just because the ones that are built, people who build them themselves, their tiny houses are a lot more just customizable and cool, and you can say, oh, I remember building that part, and you know, I got this lighting from this cool place, and our tiny house is very standard. Anyone could get it, so that's one thing to consider. With building it yourself, though, I do know that getting a loan is maybe a little bit tougher. We were never going to build our own, so I don't really know the type of loan that you'd have to get for that. I would assume it would be like a personal loan, maybe a vehicle loan. I'm not sure. If anyone knows the answer to that, if you would leave it in the comments, that might help people out. I just don't know. The other thing about building yourself is, if this is something you are interested in, we wanted ours built mainly because we wanted it to be RV certified. Basically, what that means is it's not anything super cool, but it basically means that it's certified as an RV. So for us, what that meant, and I don't know a whole lot about RV certification, but for us what that meant was we could go into an RV park, which is where we've lived the past 10 months, and we can go into an RV park and say we have an RV, it's RV certified, and it gives us peace of mind knowing that we have a better shot at being able to stick around and not be kicked out. You know, you see those pictures and those stories of people that got evicted from their own tiny houses, and we just didn't want that to happen, so we wanted to take all the precautions. Now, with RV certification, so when you build it, I don't know if you can have it RV certified. The research that I did about RV certification was that it is an entity. So I thought that it was just tiny house builders got a certification that made them RV certified, and they could you know, make their tiny houses RV certified. But it's not. What it sounds like is that it's its own entity, and the tiny house companies have them come and look at the tiny house and certify it as RV certified. That's the impression that I got from the research that I've done. But if I'm wrong, let me know. If that is the case, I would wonder if you could build your own tiny house and then have somebody come and look at it, give you the standards, that because there are certain specifications that it has to have to make it RV certified, obviously, and then check it off. So that might be an option. Honestly, I think that would be an awesome option, because then you get to save the money not have somebody else build it, and it really does save a whole lot of money. You see those blogs about people who build their tiny house for $10,000, which is dang cheap for building a house, even a tiny house. And then you could come out and have somebody certified. That would be great. So again, if anyone knows if that's a possibility, please leave a comment. I know that that would help people, because I tried to find that to get a clear answer on that, and I couldn't find it. So if anyone knows, please. The other options are you can buy plans. There are companies that sell plans. I know Tumbleweed does. Tumbleweed is also another RV certified builder as well. I think they're based out of Colorado. Anyway, they sell their plans, and so you just pay a little bit of money. They send you their plans, and you build it. You can also, I have seen free plans. I've seen just plans that aren't being sold by a tiny house building company, but just by people who design them. I know that I've seen a lot of them on Pinterest, so that's a good resource to look for those, and just Googling it. And again, well, anyway, another option is to have a tiny house builder build you a shell. So it's a fraction of the cost of the normal house, and they basically just build the shell of the house, and then you do everything on the inside. I think that's a cool option because it's a lot cheaper than obviously the whole house, and you still get the nice looking outside. So I think that's a good option. And again, with that, if it's possible, you may be able to get that RV certified later. I'm not sure. Hey. So those are kind of the options with tiny house building. When we were looking for a tiny house builder, the biggest thing for us was RV certification. One thing I would mention with the builders is make sure you have a budget in mind. If you don't have a budget in mind, it's so easy to just go crazy, because they have their base. Most of the companies that I've seen, and we did a lot of research, most of the companies that I've seen, they have a base price for their house, and then you have to add things. And some of the things you wouldn't think that you have to add, but you do. Some of the things we had to add was extra lighting, stairs. I would never think that you'd have to add stairs as an extra thing. So just really watch out for that, because they'll, not to make them sound like, dishonest or anything, but just, there's always hidden things and, whatever. So, just keep an eye out for that. A lot of the websites for those companies, which is really nice, you can go and select the base model that you want, and then you can add all the things a la carte, and they have pictures of them, so it's really easy. It's really user friendly. I loved doing it. And it was just kind of fun to, oh, I want this, or I want this, Another tip that I have is just know what you want. I think, especially with houses, people have an idea in their minds, even if they don't think they do. They have an idea in their minds of the kind of house that they want, and for us, there were sometimes when we just thought, oh, this is common knowledge. We want them to do this, that's common knowledge, and it wasn't done. And that was on us because, people can't be mind readers, but just really be clear about what you want. We drew up a detailed plan down to, on graph paper. We put in the windows and how high up we wanted the windows, because it was really important for us to have our window about the same level as our couch, because our dog likes to sleep on the couch. We had to be very specific about everything. Yeah, so just know what you want, basically. And again, be aware of all of the extra costs. One thing that was a huge eye-opener for me, just along with the extra costs, was I had been watching documentaries and YouTube videos and looking at blog posts for years about tiny houses, and I was so excited. And you know, you watch the video where they walk in and there's all this cool storage and all of these cool things, and you know, they have like a gated or something on their loft, and they have these cool lights and everything. And I guess I just kind of thought that that would be included, and it wasn't. And so I was kind of bummed, and I kind of thought, man, am I being gypped? What's going on? And so I ended up looking up those specific houses that I had seen that I had particularly loved, watching the videos for, and they ended up, I looked at how much they were, and they usually ended up being about double, if not triple, how much our budget was for our tiny house. So have a realistic expectation when it comes to your price. I'll just say, so you guys have a frame of mind, our budget was $40,000 for our house, which seems like a lot, but for a tiny house, or you know, seems like a lot for a tiny house, but it's really not. I've seen houses where they spend $100,000, $120,000. Keep in mind that some of those tiny house videos that you've watched, people have money, and I kind of assumed that people were getting tiny houses because they didn't have a whole lot of money and because they wanted to save money and blah blah blah. But the reality is, some people get tiny houses just because of the lifestyle. They want to be minimalist, they want to simplify their lives. So some of those tiny house videos that you may have seen and loved, people have maybe spent more on those houses, is what I'm saying. So just keep that in mind. Have a realistic expectation. Talk to your builder about how much your budget will get you, and just the sooner that you can have a realistic idea and expectation, the smoother things will go. You don't want to be disappointed along the way. Building. Our builder was 5 hours away from us, which was probably the hardest part because we had to communicate through emails and phone. If I was to give one piece of advice only, I would say be in the same town or within driving distance of your tiny house builder, because I would have loved to have come in every week and got an idea of where we were, what has been done, looked at everything. You know, you can only Skype and take pictures so much and explain things over the phone. There were some things that probably wouldn't have happened or would have happened that didn't if we had been in the same town. There were a few things that we weren't happy with, and it's nobody's fault. It was just that there were miscommunications, which are they happen a lot. They're very common when you're dealing over the phone and with email. So just keep that in mind. And again, just pick your battles, fight for what you really want. You know, when we got our tiny house, it was worth it for us to get the stairs put in because it was winter, and we didn't want to have to do it ourselves. We knew we were going to have to sleep in the loft, so, you know. But the storage under the stairs, if they were going to put that in, which is, you know, what I've seen in every tiny house video, I was very excited about the storage under the stairs. I was just very excited. But that was going to be a lot more money, and so we kind of had to pick our battles, and we ended up not doing that and doing our own storage, and that worked out okay, you know. So just whatever is really important to you, fight for that, and some things, if you want to stick to a budget, might have to go. So let me check my list to see if there's anything else I wanted to go over. Another tip I would have is have an idea of where you want to live before you build. Just because you don't want to build and then have problems running into where you're going to park it. Your plans fell through. Loaning also. Most companies will make you get pre-qualified before they start building, which makes sense. It's a lot of money to put on the line. If you're going to end up not being able to get it, it's a big deal. But just have a plan of how you're going to get the loan, you know, how you're going to make payments. Basically just know what's going to happen before you start building, because then once they're done building, it's a very quick and, you know, it's a very fast process, and they kind of want you to have your ducks in a row. So that was one thing I'd recommend. And then just the last thing for the people in Utah that, because I'm going to post this on multiple tiny house pages, but the people in Utah on the Utah page, the tiny house builders that I know of in Utah are Alpine Tiny Homes, Tiny Villa, and Upper Valley Tiny Homes. I don't know anything about Tiny Villa or Alpine. From what I've seen, their tiny houses look really nice. We were looking into Upper Valley Tiny Homes. Their pricing was a little bit more than what we wanted, and I don't remember if they're RV certified or not, but I really loved their houses. They're really unique. If you're really creative and you want a unique house that you don't feel like anyone else will get, Upper Valley Tiny Homes had really cool houses. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions or any other things that you wanted me to go over with building, I can please leave a comment and I can make a video about them. I'm going to do more videos. Next I'm going to talk about loans and my tips for getting a loan and basically the process that we went through. Yeah, so please leave comments. Let me know what you guys think, if you agree, disagree with any of these things. And if you have any suggestions for people. I know that when we were in the tiny house building process, we were just kids in a candy store looking for any suggestions and things that we could get, tips we could get, because the tiny house community isn't very big yet compared to, you know, the normal housing community. So we kind of have to help each other out. So anything I can do, any tips that people can leave for other people is greatly appreciated. And have a great day. Thanks, guys.